Hello everyone, my name is Clantis and welcome to the clan. So without further ado, let's get into this video. But before we do, let's do what is currently happening. I don't know if you guys are noticing the algorithm is responding so positively because of you guys. It is fetching more honorable members of the clan and the clan is growing. Now we are celebrating 8,000 subscribers. I hope I have a soundbite for that. Anyways, guys, without further ado, please also smash the subscribe button one more time and smash the like button because, guys, let's get this algorithm really shaking and all triggered and pulling more and more members of the clan that we want to join so that they can come. Some of them professionals. I found out that I've got professionals on this channel in the law and they're pretty impressed with us, guys. They are very impressed with the clan, the community itself, because you guys, like I always say, you are the smartest people I know. So many of us have 2 IQs and we keep rubbing them together, and the things that we discuss in the comment section, I love it. Okay, guys, I think I've said enough. Let's get to the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court where Nandipha Magudumana is appearing for bail application, which is still a surprise to me. Like, when did this happen? Why overnight we hear about her going to apply for bail, and for what reason? After she released that threatening letter, I still think, oh my goodness. But anyways, what happened in court today was juicy. And I have questions. I don't know if you have the same questions that I was having, but keep listening. Maybe you did ask the same questions that I asked, because I was looking at the stage with a side eye, like, really? Really? Were you also doing the same thing? Now, you tell me in the comment section before this video has ended, what did you think about the state's case yesterday? Of course, we did not hear most of what the state was saying in their case when they were stating why Dr. Nandipha Magudumana, why Nandipha Magudumana cannot get bail or be admitted into bail and stuff like that. But her lawyer, Advocate Dlamini, came with guns blazing. But before we get there, the opening scene, I don't know if you saw the opening scene, Dr. Nandipha Magudumana looked like she was in some kind of a trance. I'm not quite sure if she was praying, because she had her eyes closed and bowing down gently. And I don't know, was she praying or was she meditating? There was some point where when the camera zoomed back on her, she was shaking her head while her eyes were closed. Was she meditating or praying? And the third thing that I also noticed, I don't know if I'm wrong, and I usually don't like doing this, especially when it comes to a woman, but is Dr. Nandipha Magudumana pregnant? Does she look pregnant? To me, she looked pregnant. Not only did she also look run down, but she also looked pregnant. Is she pregnant? Can somebody confirm if she's pregnant? If you're a journalist, you don't have to say your name. You can come here in a pseudonym and let me know, because you guys are in the court. Is she pregnant? Okay? Because if she's pregnant, whew, there's a type of bastard on the way that is just got spun, you guys. Anyways, guys, let's get into the heads of argument. The heads of argument from Dr. Nandipha Magudumana, this is what he says to the court. Basically, he tells the court that he or maybe the applicant, let me just say the applicant. Every time you hear me say applicant, you just know that I'm talking about Nandipha Magudumana, because she is referred to as an applicant in court. So the applicant's defense team had an agreement with the state, which is the prosecutor, that this is a Schedule 5 offense, therefore meaning, and as you guys know that on this channel, what do? We go to the rabbit hole and we go into the rabbit hole and check what is Schedule 5? And this is what the rabbit hole told me. Schedule 5 of the Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977 states, Schedule 5 offenses include murder, attempted murder, indecent assault, forcing yourself onto someone, drug-related crimes, especially where the drugs are found to be worth 50,000 rand or more, corruption, extortion, fraud, forgery, or theft to the value of 500,000 rand, the illegal dealing in or smuggling of firearms. That is Schedule 5 of the Criminal Procedure Act, which of course the accused, the onus or the burden of proof is on them to prove to the court why it's in the best interest of justice to release her on bail. So basically, this is a civil part of the criminal part of this matter, where she needs to prove, the burden of proof in this matter is balance of probabilities rather than beyond a reasonable doubt. So on a balance of probabilities, she needs to convince the court that she is highly likely to be eligible for bail or to be admitted into bail, and then she goes home and go prepare for her trial and things of that nature, of course, with all of the conditions that she's going to be given. And I was saying that if she gets bail, and by the look of things, I am so doubtful that she's going to remain in custody, and I'll tell you why. Keep watching. And then I thought, if she is granted bail, can it be set at 5 million rand? 5 million rand, because if you put it at 5 million rand, it's highly likely that she's not going to escape the country. She will remain inside until her trial has concluded. But let's look at what is Schedule 1 of the Criminal Procedure Act, where it's the opposite now. Meaning that it is the state that has the burden of proof as to why Dr. Nandipha Magudumana must not be admitted into bail because of the reasons, whatever they're going to state. But I think Schedule 1 of the Criminal Procedure Act talks about arson and RPing and extortion and things of that nature. It's a long list of offenses under Schedule 1 of the Criminal Procedure Act, and we're not going to get there. But the burden of proof is on the state to prove why Nandipha Magudumana ought to remain behind bars until her trial has concluded, because they may believe that she's a flight risk and she's going to interfere with witnesses, intimidate them and contact them, or whatever the case is. And we already heard that Nandipha Magudumana says she knows none of the witnesses and she has no clue who are these witnesses that are going to come forward and testify on behalf of the state or in favor of the state regarding all the charges that she's been charged with. And apparently the charge sheet has 16 counts of offenses. 16 counts, people! And I was like, one woman with 16 counts of charges? That is insane, you guys. That's crazy. So here's the thing that really got me looking at the state with the side eye. I was like, state, I have a conspiracy that Dr. Nandipha Magudumana released a letter that is encrypted to some big fish that you guys better get me out. I don't care how you do this. Get me out. And then listen to what the defense team has brought before the court and tell me. Guys, I'm not saying anything here. I'm not accusing the state of anything. Please don't get me wrong. I'm just rubbing my two IQs here, and what my ears was perceiving from what the defense was saying, I really was looking at the state with the side eye, and I'm sure the magistrate herself was like, what's going on? Because I asked that question 3 times while I was listening. What is going on here? So the first thing that the defense brought to the court's attention, it's a remark. Apparently, the prosecutor altered or amended his affidavit. According to the law, apparently that is against the law for the affidavit, whether it's from the state or it's from the defense, to amend it. And without a supporting, what was the word that they used? I think this, what was the word that was used? So basically, let me read what this defense was saying to the court. So basically, these are his remarks. He says, when state puts its case on record, it read the affidavit. And this is what the affidavit supposedly have been done. The state made an amendment on the affidavit. Defense made submissions. This is my note. The defense made submissions to the court about the state amending the affidavit or its affidavit. That affidavit was not affidavit which was deposed by the state. The defense reminded the court that in terms of the law, a state was not allowed to interfere with an affidavit which was not that of the prosecutor's affidavit. The defense further tells the court, my notes, that the affidavit was made by a policeman and it was made under oath. Furthermore, that any and everything that is contained in that affidavit does not come from the prosecution. This is what the defense is telling the court. An affidavit cannot be amended, and this court knows this for a fact, meaning that the court has experience and it knows that the prosecutor, neither the defense, is allowed by law to amend the affidavit. It is principle of practice that affidavits can only be amended through supplementary affidavit by the opponent thereof. So meaning that when you are going to amend your affidavit, you need to also have a supplementary affidavit, which you also have to send to the defense, the opponent, and say, hey, listen, we made a mistake here. We accidentally omitted 1, 2, 3. And so we have made amendments. Here are the new copies. Here's a supplementary affidavit on top. And that is that. And in the defense does say that the only amendment that is allowed in an affidavit is typing errors, like typos. Nothing else, nothing more. So the defense then submitted to the court that this is amounting to a procedural irregularity by the prosecutor. And this is when I was like, state, for real. Why would you do something that you know is illegal? It's not like this prosecutor has not prepared legal documents before, preparing for court. Why now? Why? You understand what I'm trying to say? And then Dr. Nandipha Magudumana's letter, the encrypted letter, it started playing in my mind. And I'm like, yes, come what may. I don't care whether you bribe the state. I don't care if you bribe the magistrate. I don't care what you do. Get me out or I will sing. That is what was running across. And I'm not saying, guys, this is what had happened. I have a wild mind, okay? My mind sometimes but I can't. Sometimes I'll be like, well, I need to be gone. Like, gone. Like, as I was listening to the defense team, I was like, whoa, what is happening? What is happening? And then the defense, in closing the remark, it said, the behavior of the prosecutor is not in accordance with the law and therefore unlawful. I was like, man, already we are off on the wrong track. We are running on the wrong track, you guys, because each and every one of us who are not supporters of Nandipha Magudumana want her remaining behind bars. But with this unlawful act by the state, imagine yourself a magistrate right now. Would you rule in favor of the state, knowing fully well that the state has committed a crime? The court cannot be caught supporting a crime that was committed by the state, because this is exactly what the defense is accusing the state, that it has committed a crime by amending their affidavit. Wrong foot that we started on. And then the state went into legal issues. Now it started to look into what the state's case was about the previous day. Remember, the state stated its case as to why Nandipha Magudumana is not eligible for bail because she's a flight risk, and it went on and on and on about why she should not get bail. And of course, I wrote notes. So the legalities was on Schedule 5. Remember, the state as well as the defense came to this court today on the Schedule 5 offense, which I already read to you, that the burden of proof is on the applicant, meaning on Nandipha Magudumana. She needs to prove to the court why she is eligible for bail. So the defense says to the court, there are 16 counts of charges on the charge sheet. So the defense said, out of those 16 charges, only 3 that makes Schedule 5 offenses. All the other ones, it means it's a totally different schedule altogether. It's no longer on a Schedule 5. And so he went ahead and proved it to the court that this is no longer a Schedule 5 offense, but a Schedule 1 offense, where now the burden of proof, this is now the defense throwing or turning the tables on the state and say, you're the ones who made these amendments, and you are the ones who said this in your affidavit, and therefore when you look at your charge sheet only mentions 3 counts that are Schedule 5. The rest are Schedule 1. And then in my mind again, I'm like, wait a minute. Why would the state, knowing fully well, it's not like, I mean, even a first-year law student knows what are the list of Schedule 1 offenses and what is the list of Schedule 5 offenses. So why would a fully grown, experienced prosecutor would mix these counts, the majority of them being of Schedule 1? Side eye. That threat to me, from where I'm standing, it's starting to come to life in the state. Oh, whoever this big fish is has some strings that they can pull with the MPA. I said it. So this is when the state started to zoom in on count 3 of the 16 counts of offenses on the charge sheet. Now, I don't know what are the counts of offenses that are on the charge sheet. So he just kept saying, count 3, count 4, count 5, count 7, count 8, and all of that stuff. I don't know what those offenses are. All I remember is that Nandipha Magudumana is accused of aiding and abetting the escape of Thabo Bester, arson, and possible murder, I think. So those are the 3 that I'm aware of. I don't know what these other 16 are. And so this is when he started zooming in on that. And then this is what he says. And then he's now using a piece of law to basically deal with these offenses. And then he goes to say, basically he reads out what the state's affidavit states. It says, on or about the 14th of April 2022, Bloemfontein, in furtherance of a common purpose, unlawfully and intentionally directly gave or agreed or offered to give to any other person to which Tebucho James Depool, this guy was thrown under the bus. They looked for the weakest link. That's what I think. And then Tebucho, this is accused number 3. He's the weakest link, and he was thrown under the bus. And they continue to say, he received any gratification to read an offer of 2.5 million rand and paid him only 40,000 rand. And therefore, the defense said they can accept that because according to a piece of law, in order for corruption to stick, it must amount to about 500,000 rand and above, from 500,000 and above. Now that they are talking about 2.5 million rand, then they say they accept that accusation or allegation. Oh, but no, this defense lawyer had an ace up his sleeve. I could not believe what he was saying. Keep watching. And then the defense continues to say, however, a charge sheet done without any support of any evidence whatsoever is not evidence. So basically he was asking about where's the evidence of this 2.5 million rand, meaning that 2.5 million rand, where did it come from and to whom did it go to? Who deposited it to accused number 3? Then I thought, ooh, good question. And then he continues to say, there must be evidence on the record to convince this court that the count 5 is sitting with a Schedule 5 offense. Where is the evidence? Then I was like, Haibo, this is my note. Haibo, Kate, what's going on? That's my first what's going on. Where is the evidence from the side of the state to show that count number 3 is actually Schedule 5 offense? So the state is caught with its pants down. So that's 2 to the defense and 0 to the state. And then the other part that I felt that the state was so unprofessional about was which also kind of contributes to my conspiracy theory about the state now. Because I'm looking at the state with suspicion. The defense lawyer then says there are a bunch of papers that are unnumbered. And so this lawyer tried to peruse through these unnumbered pages, but he did find a paragraph that he wanted the court to pay attention to and also admit it into evidence. And this is what it says. The applicant, this is Nandipha Magudumana, the applicant is facing serious charges. This is the state in its affidavit saying that the state has an overwhelming case against the applicant. And he says this is very important for everybody to pay attention to, and that it's linked to the crime as follows. So meaning that the state is linking Nandipha Magudumana to all the counts, all 16 counts that are on the charge sheet. Remember, count number 3, we now learned it is a Schedule 1 offense, not a Schedule 5 offense. Or maybe do you want me to remind you what is Schedule 1? Now I'll remind you, I don't mind. Schedule 1 of the Criminal Procedure Act, it speaks of arraping, compelling arrap, and contemplated in Section 3 and 4 of the criminal law. Okay, let's leave that part out. So basically it talks about kidnapping, arson, public violence, robbery, assault with intent to do grievous bodily harm. I think that's another charge that Nandipha Magudumana is charged with. So basically the state was trying to discredit the fact that the state has an overwhelming case against Nandipha Magudumana. And it wanted to know, where is this overwhelming case against their client? And of course, he made more submissions to the court. So the state continues to read the state's affidavit by continuing to say, the state says that the applicant and her co-accused acted in furtherance in a common purpose. Their aim was for Thabo Bester to escape. The objective evidence of bank statements shows that the applicant was also on occasion a source who provided the money to accused number 1 for distribution to the co-accused. So far, it has been established that the applicant paid 85,000 rand to accused number 1. Okay, now we are beginning to see some kind of evidence that indeed the bank of Nandipha Magudumana paid accused number 1 an amount of 85,000 rand. And this is where the defense once again zoomed in on count 3. It challenges the court to look at the charge sheet and look at the affidavit from the state and says, and this is what it says, or this is the challenge to the court. They say, look at who is the recipient of the alleged gratification of the 85,000 rand. Who is the recipient? Already we know it is accused number 1. That is Sinoge. So on the charge sheet, it is alleged to be accused number 3, Tebogo James Dipudu. Tebogo, thrown under the bus. This is my notes. He's been thrown under the bus by Dr. Nandipha Magudumana, and guess who's next? So the defense then directs the court one more time to look at the evidence to proving its allegations against the applicant on count number 3. So basically, what is the defense trying to say is, this affidavit by the state talks about accused number 3. It doesn't talk about the applicant. Furthermore, the defense continues to say, it talks of accused number 1. The charge sheet speaks of 40,000 rand, but the evidence talks of 85,000 rand. Then again, I was like, come on, state. You cannot tell me you are an amateur when it comes to preparing court papers. You know that you must speak to the same evidence through and through. Why in one sentence you're saying this and in another you're saying this, a different number, but talking about the same person? It must be there must be consistency in your case. So once again, the defense directs the court or challenges the court to look at a piece of law, which I think many South Africans aren't aware of, because it affects you one day. Remember, ignorance of the law is no defense at all. Anyway, in any constitutional democracy, just because you don't know that a law like this exists doesn't mean you should not be prosecuted for it or punished for violating it. So it's very important that you do not play the ignorance when you come to a court of law. So basically, this piece of law is referring to corruption referred to in Chapter 2 of the Prevention and Combating of Corrupt Activities Act of 2004. Basically, there are three links that he read out of that piece of law, but I think he just wanted to focus on link number 1, involving an amount of more than 500,000 rand. Remember, we're talking about the 2.5 million rand that James was promised by we don't know who, and the state and the defense wants to know who that person is, because that person is not in the state's affidavit, which is another thing. I was like, come on, the prosecutor. You know you shouldn't mention names. You know you should say the names, even of course it's an allegation. Allegedly, Nandipha Magudumana, I think at that time she was still Dr. Nandipha Magudumana. Dr. Nandipha Magudumana, blah, 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 2.5 million rand, to Tebuho, James Dipulu, and all that sort of stuff. But no, the state doesn't do that. So a little bit more, I want to expand on this piece of law. Basically, what this law says, if you know or you've seen or witnessed somebody being corrupt, and that corruption is amount to 500,000 and more, and you do not report it, you're an accomplice. You are just as an accomplice as the guilty party by keeping quiet and not reporting this crime. So if you know somebody that is committing a crime, and there's a chance that at some point, and they are caught, they might say, hey, Clantis was watching me do this. I'm also going to get arrested, prosecuted, and convicted. So just know that, okay? Don't say, I didn't know this law existed. You're going to go to jail. And so this is when the defense is challenging the court itself regarding this piece of law. And this is what they are saying. Speaking on count 3, where do we see anything or any allegations with regards to an amount of 2.5 million rand? Where? And then he says, the answer is a big fat no. And then he continues to say, Colonel Flyman provided evidence of this affidavit, of his affidavit, is silent. He's the one who mentioned the 2.5 million rand, but he's silent about an amount of 2.5 million rand. Only the charge sheet that speaks about 2.5 million rand. Where is 2.5 million rand coming from? The state is bringing allegations on a charge sheet which cannot be supported by evidence. Even the affidavit of Flyman, it does not support the state's allegation in the charge sheet. Again, state, what is happening, sir? And then the defense continues to ask the court, so why are they saying that it is a Schedule 5 offense? What evidence do we have on record to show that the state has shown that indeed it has got an overwhelming case as it alleges, which proves that the so-called count which makes it a Schedule 5 offense, there is nothing about that. And then it says, the state is also relying on count number 4. And once again, the defense challenged the court to look at the charge sheet. Says, go look at the charge sheet and then come back and tell me, where do you see the name of the applicant? Meaning, out of this 2.5, where is the name of the applicant? And then the defense continues to say, there are people charged there in relation to count number 4, except the name of the applicant is not there. She is not charged with count 4. And then he says, let me read you who are the names, or what are the names of people that are listed that are charged with count number 4. He says, accused number 1, accused number 4, and accused number 7. Nandipha Magudumana, the applicant, is accused number 4. And they say the applicant is not accused or charged with count 4. And then the defense asked the court, the question therefore is, what schedule are we here with? Is there evidence before this court upon which this court is convinced, or at least try to put the applicant closer to any of these charges? There's none. And this is when the defense submitted to the court that this is not Schedule 5 offense, but Schedule 1 offense. Now meaning that it is the state that needs to prove on a balance of probabilities as to why Nandipha Magudumana is not eligible for bail. And therefore, the onus of proof is not on the applicant, but it is on the state. There are 16 counts on the charge sheet, the defense says. This is when the defense challenges the court one more time. And this is the challenge. Look at affidavit of Colonel Flyman and ask how many charges are there to make the state say it has an overwhelming case against the applicant. Flyman's statement only accounts to only 11 charges. And this is when the defense said they are going to reserve their right to disclose their defense. And then it started going to count number 5. Count number 5, this is where Nandipha Magudumana, being Dr. Nandipha Magudumana, went and claimed bodies, and then one of the application form or claim form, her fingerprint was on it. And then he challenged that fingerprint, and he just went on about the fingerprint. He went on also about identity parade, that you are saying there are witnesses. Where are those witnesses? Who they are? Because Nandipha Magudumana says she knows none of the witnesses. And another thing that would have helped, and he even made an example of Nandipha Magudumana. When you remember she used to come to court wearing a mask, the court wanted to know, is it her behind that mask, and made her to remove it, exposing her identity. Meaning now anybody from outside that court on that particular day when she was ordered to remove a mask might have come forward and lied and said, I'm the witness, I'm going to testify against her. She invited me to a funeral where we buried boerewors and rotten meat. And then he moved to count number 6. And the count number 6 is the sentence. So basically, Flyman at this point, he was just using short sentences, referring to count this and count that. And then, of course, the defense say, what is he talking about here? This does not prove anything. And then he says, on count number 6, there's no evidence. That's what he submitted to the court. And then count 7, they reserve the right to disclose their defense. And then count number 8, at this point, I thought, what's the point continuing listening? Because I think I already got the meat of what the defense is doing here to the state's case. Basically, it has discredited the state's case. And I, as a person who was listening, I'm in doubt. I'm in doubt that Nandipha Magudumana is going to be denied bail because the state has made mistakes. I would not even say those are loopholes. I would say they are gaping holes that the state opened for Nandipha Magudumana to be granted bail. And of course, count number 8 is aiding and abetting the escape of Thabo Bester. I think even with that one, they reserve their right to disclose their defense or something like that. So these are my thoughts. I know I said it. This is going to be a long video. These are my thoughts. My thoughts are, when Dr. Nandipha Magudumana released a letter on Sunday, and then when you read between the lines, then suddenly on Monday, we are hearing there is going to be bail application coming from Nandipha Magudumana. And then, of course, that case sat yesterday. And, of course, the state made its case. And now we are hearing a rebut of everything that the state has said, overwhelming case against the accused, 16 charges on the charge sheet, and all that sort of stuff, only to be nothing but hot air. And the question now I'm asking myself, why state? What's happening? Are you asking the same question I'm asking? Or maybe it's me who is reading too much into it. It's me who's just being melodramatic. Because this does not make sense, guys. This prosecutor, from the look of things, he's not an amateur. He is been around for a hot minute for him to be making this sort of mistakes. Because these mistakes, as a magistrate, and I'm listening to this, I will not subject the court to making a decision in favor of the state when it has committed a crime. That means this court condones the state or any other person that comes before it to rule in its favor after committing a crime. Because that's just my two IQs, guys. I'm not accusing the state of anything. I'm just trying to understand what happened. And then I think it would be a big mistake if the MPA does not change this prosecutor on the 4th of September 2023. Because that's when this case was postponed to. It was postponed for the 4th of September 2023. This is next week, Monday. The reason why is because the defense wants to continue with its argument or heads of argument. It's not done yet. And then this makes you think, oh my goodness, what did the state do that was so wrong? Because I've seen at least 8 things that the state did wrong in this case, in this application by Dr. Nandipha Magudumana. And the question I'm asking myself, was it deliberate? Please, leave me a comment down below and let me know, do you think this was deliberate or this was honest mistake? If it was an honest mistake by a seasoned prosecutor, that's my question to you. Somebody who's been preparing prosecutorial documents for years, and then today you are making these mistakes? How? Why? No, guys. We are being played here. We are being played. Somebody is pulling the strings somewhere. Okay, so anyways, guys, if you like the video, give it a like. If you didn't like the video, give it a like. Anyways, do subscribe to my YouTube channel and don't forget to click the bell notification so you get notified every time I upload a new video. My super thanks are turned on. Thank you so much to everybody that's super thanking this channel and supporting it financially. I highly appreciate you guys so very much. Do leave me a comment down below, guys. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Am I being melodramatic here? Do I have something? Or I don't know. Just let me know. I'm willing to learn as well where I may have made mistakes in this video. Remember, these are just my opinions. I'm not saying these are facts. These are just allegations that are coming from me. Okay? So don't come for me and say, hey, okay, fine. Allegedly then. Okay? Let's go with that. And also, do share this video far and wide. I highly appreciate you guys when you do that. And don't forget to smash the like button. Let's continue to smash the algorithm and bring us more members of the clan. I highly appreciate this. I love it. I love it. I love seeing you guys. Welcome all of you who are new on this channel. This is freedom. Feel free. Nobody's going to judge you. Whether you have a popular opinion or unpopular opinion, it's an opinion nonetheless. Thank you all. Thanks for watching. See you next time with a new video. Goodbye.